Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again, and got a good end game update for the Inquisitor, Arc, and Wave of Conviction, Annihilating Light sort of character. And good news is, it went really well. So I was actually very pleasantly surprised by how well the character was put together in the end for basically all content. Didn't really expect it to be too good for proper bossing and stuff, like the end game bossing. And even mapping, to some extent, had my reservations and doubts, but Arc held up really well, and it is largely thanks to Vile Arc. But in general, just this sort of triple damage stuff, Inquisitor setup that can let you use almost any spell. Just went down pretty smooth. Like, the movement speed and your travel is a bit slow, and having shrines helps with that. And as well as that, I will also say that I think getting a bit more cast speed would have been nice throughout this character, if you're going to try and build it, after me. But overall, it still hit level 95. Like, the mapping was smooth. I barely ever died, and did a bunch of end game. So it was a fun, strong character in the end. I did stick to Arc for almost all of my map clearing, though I tested a bunch of other shit out, and I think Divine Ire was also pretty competitive for fun and map clear, and as well as that, pretty good for single target. But overall, I still just liked having Arc on my main weapon and then Wave of Conviction as a quick little weapon swap. So Arc, will have like 10 to 15 mil in DPS if you fully build into it, and Wave of Conviction can then instead go to like 20 to 30 mil. There's just no competition for single target, but you could easily play Arc all the way through if you really wanted to, especially with the aid of a Stormbrand. My Stormbrand by itself was doing like 5 million DPS or some shit, and that was still without real links. So if you put in real Stormbrand links, then this could actually be a pretty good Stormbrand build if you just want it to be, and then occasionally use like other skills if you really feel the need to. But if you want, you could just have the Stormbrand playstyle of drop a couple of brands and run around in circles, because that was enough to kill most of these bosses realistically. But of course, we were trying to be Wave of Conviction and just hit really, really hard. So during boss fights, I would get rid of Herald of Ice and just put on Vitality so that I could sustain Righteous Fire, though basically, if you want to have the best shot of killing some of these endgame bosses, you don't run Righteous Fire. I was only really running Righteous Fire against shit that I knew I could overpower and tank and all that. Like, this is just normal Shaper and most like Elder Slayer, sort of Guardian type maps, that sort of shit, and four ways and all that. It was mostly just for novelty of having much bigger deeps, but your character ends up being quite a bit less thick, because I basically trade in all of my regen for an extra 40-50% more damage, some shit like that. Whereas if I just don't have Righteous Fire on, I've still got like 20 million DPS and much, much better regen. So that said, I still pressed it a lot of the time, but for some of the Uber fights and shit like that I ended up trying, I didn't press Righteous Fire because I valued the regen and the thickness that the character would otherwise have. So that went pretty well, I think. Just having the right type of thickness, which isn't even all that massive, but actually this is a good example of some boss DPS. We globaled the Uber, Elder and Shaper at the same time before they even get to move. So still just Uber Elder, but not Uber Elder. And then Feared, like I said, I shouldn't be pressing Righteous Fire here. It's an all at once Feared, and I definitely could have used the recovery more instead, but want some bigger damage, so had to start out with Righteous Fire. But regardless of that, did end up dying, because I think things just got a bit messy, and then couldn't recover enough life and time when I was running away. Otherwise, not pressing Righteous Fire means it have much better regen, and you can also just let your Stormbrand do much more damage while you run around if you really need to. And what else is there to say? Basically, Inquisitor regen, pretty nice. Like, I've only really got Vitality plus the Inquisitor Conk Ground effect, and then using Eldritch Battery as well with Mind Over Matter. Our character ends up being, pretty resilient with the Determination as well, so it's got good armor, and then Glancing Blow almost fully capped. So I was actually surprised at how well Glancing Blow substituted for Spell Suppress, since I don't have Spell Suppress. As you can see here, I take a whole bunch of shit because I don't even know what the attack's doing, whatever. Without spell suppress, yep, some spells hurt a lot, but glancing blows kind of covers that up a bit. Not fully because it's not 100% chance, and then also it's not 50% reduced, but it went pretty well. It's just a regular Maven, probably the quickest I'd killed regular Maven in, I don't know, the past, I think, because my damage, once it's fully set up, it really is front-loaded super hard. The problem is setting up the damage to the maximum is pretty tough, since you got to get your intensify stacks up and be standing still, and the focus needs to be up, and your flasks and your stormbrand, and you got to curse the enemy. So it's not always that you're going to be doing that maximum damage, but there are plenty of times where you can set that up well enough. And then this is the Uber Maven. End up doing 2 or 3 Uber Mavens, I think. This was a deathless full kill, and in general, if you can do Maven, chances are you can do Uber Maven. It's just a bit more setup of the degen balls and just a little bit more dodging, and then obviously the fight's going to go longer because she takes less damage. But it went pretty well, in that I killed Uber Maven, killed Uber Shaper, killed Uber Cirrus. Didn't try anything else because I didn't really think it'd be good for it. And I wasn't in the mood to just get destroyed, but it's possible that it could have been done, who knows. As well as that, also did a Hall of Grandmasters, and that actually went really well. So Arc and then Inquisitor, Ignore, Resists, comboed really nicely to clear all of the waves of Hall of Grandmasters, and then of course there's just a bit of a hurdle at the end, depending on which particularly annoying Grandmasters you get. And it's whether or not you can kill those, or which ones you get, because maybe some combos just can't be killed by normal builds. But either way, this went pretty well, so we could just speed run through each wave fairly nicely with Arc. We do have good regen, good thickness, and then ailment immune, and also curses don't do very much because we're Inquisitor, and then if you have your flask up, basically immune to curses. So regular waves are really good, and it was pretty clean. And then right at the end, we did have our one particular annoying dude, and that is of course Putrefy, Rot, and Fester, and it's this guy here. Pretty sure most of us know what he is and how he is at this point, and you can appreciate that it's difficult stuff, but swap in the Wave of Conviction, go for the face tank, and it did end up killing him. So I'll leave you guys with the Uber Cirrus. Hope you guys enjoyed the build and the video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Definition of cheap. Yeah, like for like endgame build, this is pretty cheap.
Did you really think
Woke all the shitty chests together, grab the 1 chaos staff,
destroying you?
1 chaos ring, 1 chaos ring, 1 chaos hat. You can get a helmet chart, cool. And then try and make some good other pieces of gear.
You want the Atlas? Take it.
Before Deathless Uber Cirrus. You reckon? You reckon there's a world in which I Deathless this? I don't know, hopefully I'm thick.
The suffering of my fellow citizens will find
Really need spell crit? Yeah, pretty much. Like, I don't know, the increased effect is nice, but yeah, by all means. It's not serving much of a purpose.
Creation itself. Why resist? Obliteration!
What's this? A real challenge. You've finally caught my attention.
I must have time to gather will. Die.
Yeah, I gotta remember that that shit's moving.
Your lives are meaningless.
And it's decent. Last phase might be okay.
Creation itself.
You're dumb? Watch my video from yesterday then. If you're that dumb. It explains everything for you.
Glorious.
Please watch the video.
Strength in their projections.
Please, bro.
Reliant on
Please.
I am not so foolish.
I'm kind of curious how much one of these hits me for right now. The chill's pretty good, eh? Actually makes his beam way slower. That's kind of cool. 30% chill, I just then saw, so it was maximum. And that'll also remove some of his damage that he deals, eh? Because I'm using the ring.
Like, really interesting enough to warrant all.
Just wish I actually got to do some damage through the way of a conviction sometimes. Oh god. I didn't want to have to press flasks though. It's fucked up, dude. We wait? God no.
The edge of death, my heart races. I am alive.
Beyond, there is only horror.
Oh, that was a nice maze, eh?
Everlasting fire.
You will long for
Non-existence.
I mean, fuck you, video game. So many puddles everywhere now. He was like, I was terrified of a die beam coming in, but he just delayed it for some reason. Like he kept holding it, and it just forced me to make mistakes because I was like running around going, "Oh shit, here it goes!" Nothing. You video game. Fuck the fuck off. Fucking cunt.
Beyond, there is only
Dude, what is this maze?
everlasting fire.
I don't know where it is.
will long for
Non-existence. Die.
Oh goddamn shit the arena is now. Fuck this game. It's fine. Okay. Nah, that was alright. Realistically, that's okay. But still, it's fucking stupid.